We all know that Assassin's Creed 3 has some very mixed opinions. It's one of those games that you either love or you despise. Now, a few weeks ago I made a video highlighting 5 great things in Assassin's Creed 3, but in this video I feel as if I should highlight some of the not so good things in Assassin's Creed 3, and for everybody's sanity's sake I will not mention Connor at all. Because 6 idiots with 1 GCSE between them could figure out that that's a lost argument for both sides. Please do bear in mind that this video isn't intended to hate on Ubisoft, but actually point them in the right direction and point out the game's shortcomings. Every game has them, but it's Assassin's Creed 3's turn to be on the chopping block. Something to bear in mind for all you white knights: this is not intended to hate on Ubisoft, like I just said before, but I don't think any amount of disclaimers is going to stop people from commenting some ridiculous things. I've just given you plenty of warning that you might not like this video if you're one of the people who really loves Assassin's Creed 3 and can't see the flaws in it. Now that that awfully tedious disclaimer is out of the way, let's get into 5 bad things in Assassin's Creed 3. First up, we have the virtually empty open world. Now, Assassin's Creed 3 was a game that was probably rushed towards the end, that could have done with a bit more time. And as a result, the main thing that suffered was definitely the open world. Now, there were things there to do. There was hunting, you could do the frontiersman missions, you could do assassinations and things. But all of the things that you could do really lacked any depth, and it made it not really that worth doing. And then there were some collectibles like the peg leg trinkets, which had rewards, so they were quite fun actually. But there wasn't too much that was there that you could have done that made you want to invest yourself in the game and the open world, and honestly there wasn't very much to do when looking at it. So the open world in Assassin's Creed 3 was actually fairly empty. It's not the worst and emptiest open world I've ever played a game in. It's not really got much to it, so I really didn't find myself spending too much time enjoying the scenery in this game. Next up, we have the cities. Now, the cities felt like each other. They were almost the same, except one was half burned down. Now, the cities in Assassin's Creed 3 weren't the most interesting to explore. All the landmarks looked the same, all the buildings looked almost the same, even the burned down buildings looked the same as the ones there. None of it really looked great to me. The cities didn't feel alive as much as a massive machine, and they weren't AC friendly in the sense that parkour was difficult and tedious. You would always get spotted on rooftops, there weren't many stealth opportunities, and you were almost restricted to the ground because the guards were all over the place on the rooftops and there's no way to not be seen. That being said, there are massive gaps in the roads where you cannot get across by a rooftop. Sometimes you have to jump down and jump back up, or you have to make a massive detour, which is really irritating. And all in all, I find the cities to not be complementary to an Assassin's Creed game, and they perhaps should have thought about this before making a game set in the American Revolution. Ideally, Assassin's Creed needs a setting where the cities are more compact, so you can jump pretty much rooftop to rooftop across the city without having to touch the ground once. Next up, we have the naval. Now, the idea of naval was a great idea introduced in Assassin's Creed 3, and it was perfected in Assassin's Creed 4, so it's not a point that I'm necessarily bummed off about. However, in Assassin's Creed 3, I didn't find the naval itself to be very fun at all. It was very basic and it was quite boring actually. All the naval felt the same. The missions were quite tedious. It wasn't a satisfying feeling to sail the Aquila or whatever. It just wasn't a satisfying naval experience. I didn't necessarily enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the naval in Black Flag and Rogue, which is sort of the point. They wanted to upgrade the naval for those games, but they needed a starting point, and that's what Assassin's Creed 3 was. They upgraded it and they changed it and they made it better for Assassin's Creed 4, so it's not necessarily anything that I'm upset about personally now. However, the naval in Assassin's Creed 3 itself wasn't the best naval that I've ever played, I'm just saying. And honestly, if I could play through Assassin's Creed 3 and not touch the naval, I would do it. That's not to say that the naval in Assassin's Creed 3 was dreadful, but yeah, it was. Next up, we have the confusing story. Now, the first few sequences of Assassin's Creed 3 started off really strong. It was up until about sequence 6 is when it started to crash down a little bit and it became confusing, and honestly it wasn't driving or compelling to play. However, there were some redeeming points, some good scenes and so on and so forth, but at the same time the story was just outright confusing, and because of a tiny twist, or well, a large twist about halfway through the story, or towards the latter quarter shall we say, in which the story's driving force is turned on its head and no longer has any meaning for the game, and honestly it made the entire story just pointless. And finally we have the middle finger of an ending. You know exactly what I mean. So there you have it, everybody. 5 bad things in Assassin's Creed 3, at least in my opinion. If you disagree or have more to add, please go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. I can see people being like, why didn't you include Connor? Obviously because that's a lost argument and I know it. And also I can see people being all triggered because I pointed out bad things about Assassin's Creed 3, which is also a bit irritating. However, it is what it is. Comment what you think down below and I will see you all soon. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, share, comment. See you all next time. So yeah.